Shalom, 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 everyone. Shalom once again. Welcome once again to Shabbat Night Talk. My name is D.C.B. I'm one of the teachers at Congregation D.C.B. Thank you the Most High God for my life, the life of all of you, the life of Kobe Yisrael scattered in the four corners of the earth. Thanking the Creator of heaven and earth for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, for all things and everything. We almost say hallelujah. In the Northeast has been brutally cold, so I hope that everyone out there is safe. Everyone has a place warm to stay in, because it is extremely cold in New York City. New York City is extremely cold. The temperatures have been in the teens, but with the wind chill factor, it feels like it's like zero. So we thank the Creator for having a warm place to stay, where we could come together and we could enjoy each other's company online and all that good stuff. So thanking the Creator of heaven and earth for my life, the life of all of you. Thanking the Creator for this day. Thanking the Creator for everything. I hope that y'all been catching my interviews on my Uzi channel. Remember, subscribe to that channel also, just like you do the D.C.B, because there's a lot of content that come on that channel that y'all might miss if you're just waiting for D.C.B content. Sometimes I do the Uzi channel because that's my personal channel, and sometimes I could put a little bit more on that channel than the regular D.C.B channel. Try to keep that strictly for D.C.B business. So Shabbat Shalom to everyone in the rooms. As we're streaming live on YouTube, and we're streaming live on Facebook also. Also, if you're friends with me on Facebook, Uzi, I usually load up all the videos there. So for everybody who was waiting for Charlotte, North Carolina, right? When they had the Shabbat YAH on July 1st, the Unity Shabbat that they had there this year. And some of you that have watched the video, I only loaded like half of the second half, and everybody's been asking me for the other half. What was happening is that I had to get to load up everything. I had to get to load everything up. I didn't get a chance to load everything up, so now I loaded everything up. It's like in a playlist. It's like 7 parts, like little 16-minute segments. So you get to watch it for all of you that are interested in catching up with that. It was a beautiful event. You will enjoy it. And the part that I uploaded, you will get to see when I receive my award. Where's my award at? No, my award was here. Let me show you all my award that was given to me. Got fingerprints all on it. The Man of Valor. All right. I appreciate this award. Man of Valor awarded to Chief Uzi for his unwavering commitment to Yah and his people through long-standing, dedicated, and faithful service, July 2017. So there go my award. I'm thankful to the brothers and sisters from the Hebrew family of Charlotte and all that good stuff. Tavel. So the rest of the stuff is up there. More Tavel. So I was listening to your uncle Saul Haron. He gave a good lesson. So I had to go back and listen to some of that stuff. And there's some good stuff on it. So go check that out after I get off of here. I'm not gonna be here for too long tonight. Told my brother Mikhail. All right. Sha'arei Shemayim. That's Chief Prince Hezekiah out there in, I believe, in St. Albans, Queens. I could be mistaken. I could be confusing that congregation and the location of congregation, but I know exactly the congregation. Our brother Mikhail Zavulum. Good to see you. Thank you, and send my love to the Chief Prince out there and to his queen out there. We thank the Most High God for all of you. Every segment of Israel counts. You know, every little piece of Israel counts, because on the return is no we're going to need each other. The Most High is forcing us to the point where we're going to need each other, and in order to survive, we're going to have to be able to trust and depend on each other. So, Torah, Ima Naomi. I appreciate that, and I try to stay humble with it, but it's definitely feel good to be appreciated and for people to notice what you do. Everybody wants to be noticed. Don't let no one fool you. Nobody wants to go unnoticed. A wife doesn't want to go unnoticed. A husband doesn't want to go unnoticed. Children don't want to go unnoticed. Everybody wants to be noticed. Shabbat Shalom to my sister Dina in the building. Brother Chaim is still here. He's been a pleasant visitor. You know, Chaim is always welcome in my house. So young Chaim is, I don't know, somebody's walking outside of my house, past my house, or a car is parked playing some loud music. So I wanted to talk about something. There was a post that I put up earlier this week, and I want y'all hope this thing loads up. All right, let me see if I can find it on my phone. I posted it up on Monday. And I wanted to talk about this, kick it around with y'all. Hope everybody had a great meal out there. Shabbat is special. You know, we do Shabbat night meals. We don't do Sunday meals. That's the Sunday meals is a result of the church indoctrination. You know, cook before you go to church and have a big meal and have a big, almost like a feast. That's for the Shabbat day. We keep that for the Shabbat day. Shabbat night, which we know it is Friday night. Sit down with your family. You enjoy your meal. You know, you talk about, you know, the greatness of the Most High, and you enjoy your time, right? So, all right. Anytime, you know that young man is always welcome here with me. Let me see. So every now and then when I'm doing I'm doing the Shabbat night service, so we're teaching during the daytime at the Shabbat, you get I call them fanatics, you know, and you know 100% of the time is our messianic brothers. 100% of the time is our messianic brothers. They have this they have this this thing that they get from let me go there, from 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4, and it reads, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. Right? So the passage is often used by Messianic brothers and sisters when they see our Shabbat services and they see us with a turban on our head or a kippah like I have on right now. They basically telling us that we're going against a command. So then we have to examine, is it really going against a command? Now, the book of Corinthians, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the Pauline epistles, right? One of the epistles of Paul. And the book of Corinthians in particular, I believe was letters that were sent down to Corinth, by Paul. I could be mistaken, but if I remember my history with that stuff, that's what it was. You see, I don't delve in that stuff. I haven't been delving in it a lot lately because our lessons haven't been geared towards that. So sometimes you forget. But if I'm not mistaken, that's what I believe it is. So when we walk around with our turbans or with our kippah, and what they mean by praying and prophesying is like a form of teaching, right? So they condemned us. I've been condemned to burn in the lake of fire. I've been condemned to a lot of things because I'm wearing a kippah on my head while I'm teaching, or I'm wearing a turban while I'm teaching. So now let me tell you this. The first thing we have to look at is this. Like I wrote on the post, the first thing we have to look at is Paul, or the book of Corinthians, or when we look at the New Testament as a whole. In the New Testament, you will never find thus saith the Lord. The New Testament, you will never find thus saith the Lord. And if you find something in there that's anything resembling or is close to a law, it was something that they already took out of the Old Testament. But in terms of the Most High giving us a command not to cover our heads while we pray or while we speak about him. I mean, not against him, about him. You will never find that in the Torah of the Most High. You will never find that in the Tanakh. This is something that Paul said. So now, for all intent and purposes, Paul was a rebel. He came up with his own rules and regulations. So those are the things that we have to be aware of. So when we look, it says right here, when we look at the word of God is exclusively in the Old Testament as we look at it. So nowhere in the Old Testament does it prohibit us, in the first 5 books or in the Tanakh, does it prohibit us from having our heads covered when we do services. There's nowhere. Now, there's nowhere that says your head has to be covered either in order to do a service before the Most High. It doesn't say that either. So I'm getting to that, Moray. So my response to them is always, let's look at the priest and their uniforms. All the priests' uniforms had a head covering. Turban, some of them had what they call like a bonnet type style. But for all intent and purposes, the priests are doing the service before the Most High on a daily basis. When they bless the children, It was commanded for them not to uncover their heads in the midst of in front of the people. So that means every time they did a service before the Most High, their head was covered. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind, right? It says here, if we go to the Torah, to the book of Exodus 28, sometimes I have to do these type of lessons. I know some people don't like these type of lessons, but sometimes you have to do it so as to show what has to be done. So it says here, Exodus 28, 28 verse 1. And bring thou near unto thee Aharon thy brother, and his sons with him, for among the children of Israel, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, Itamar, Aaron's sons. So this is, when we first came out of Egypt, the Most High God is setting up now the order of the priests. And he's telling our great father Moses to bring and present Aaron before him. Aaron, your brother, and him and his sons are going to begin to minister before the Most High God on a daily basis. They become the priestly line of the nation of Israel as the nation is being formed in the wilderness. And then it reads, and thou shalt make holy garments for Aaron thy brother, for splendor and for beauty. Now remember what I told you about 1 Corinthians, right? And what I read to you in 1 Corinthians, which says, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor of his head. This is Paul's law. This is not Yah's law. This is what we have to understand. That's Paul's law. That's not even the Christ of the New Testament speaking. That's Paul saying that any man who covers his head, dishonor of his head, right? Meaning it's like a shameful thing. It shouldn't be done. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Bet Sheba Yeshurun, good to see you. Verse 3. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they make Aaron's garments to sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. So everybody, all the people that saw, everybody's going to get involved. Everybody that's a good craft person, that's a good seamstress, or that's a tailor, all these people are going to get involved in the preparation and making of the garments. They're going to get the best of the best to make these garments and to make these things that they need. These are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate and an ephod and a robe and a tunic of checkered work, a mitre and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. Right? So I don't want to go through the whole, but let's go through the whole breakdown. A breastplate, right? That's basically what the breastplate is, basically where the stones go in. The 12 stones, each stone representing the nation of Israel. An ephod, the ephod is basically what holds the breastplate. That's where they hook on the ropes of braided work, the ropes that hold the breastplate to the ephod, right? And a robe underneath all that. You know, a robe is everything covered from the neck all the way down to the ankles, and a tunic of checkered work. A tunic is basically, you have the robe on, it's like a beged, right? Or cotonet, right? More like a beged, right? Because a beged is a little bit longer. Correct me if I'm wrong out there. More Tavel. Tunic of checkered work, a mitre, and a girdle. A mitre is what you put on your head, is a head covering, right? Which is will be interpreted as a turban. Some people will say it's like a bonnet, but regardless of what it is, it's a head cover. That's what we're looking at. This is part of the uniform of the priest. This is part of the uniform of the priest. So if he's ministering before God at all times, saying prayers, saying blessings, saying prayers over animals and stuff like that, wouldn't that be exactly what Paul said you shouldn't do with your head covered? But the priest is doing it. And the priesthood is the highest office when it comes to servitude to God, because they have to be perfect. They're not allowed to make mistakes, you know? And they have to have their heads covered at all times. Let us go to the book of Exodus 39, speaking in the same vein. It reads, so remember, Exodus 28, God is giving the command of what to do. In this chapter right here, the garments are made, if I'm not mistaken, and of the blue and purple and scarlet they made pleated garments for ministering in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates and cut it into threads to work it in the blue and in the purple and in the scarlet and in the fine linen, the work of the skillful workmen. So they said that their garments was for splendor and for beauty. They put gold in their garments. People, they was using gold like thread. We don't even think about that. We got that fake gold thread that we put on to try to make it look like that. They actually had pure gold in their garments. These are the things that we have to keep in mind. They made shoulder pieces for it, joined together. At the two ends was it joined together, right? The shoulder pieces right here, right, with the two stones. I believe it was two stones that went there with the names of the tribes of Israel engraved in the two stones. So 6 in one stone and 6 in the other. And the skillfully woven band that was upon it, wherewith to gird it on, was on the same piece like the work thereof, of gold, of blue, purple, scarlet, fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses. So basically following the commandments from the previous chapter that we just came from, which is Exodus 28. So now it's being done. And they wrought the onyx stones enclosed in the setting of gold, graven with the engravings of a signet according to the names of the children of Israel. Right? So that was the shoulder pieces, the onyx stones. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof being double. So that's a span, they said, for all intent and purposes, is the size of a hand, right? So it was square, meaning it was even on all 4 sides, something that could almost like the size of the patch, maybe a little bit bigger, that fits all the 12 stones, right? As we're going to read right here. Said they made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof being double. So when they made it double, meaning that they made the breastplate, but then they made it to where it had like if this is the breastplate, then they made it to have another overlapping piece of material, right? That was even against it. And that is where the lights of perfection, or the umim and the tumim, went, or whatever. And between that, it says, and they set it in 4 rows of stones, a row on carnelian, topaz, and smaragd was the first row, and the second row carbuncle, a sapphire, and an emerald, and the third row jacinth, agate, and an amethyst, and the 4th row a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in the fittings of gold in their settings, right? So that's on the breastplate. I'm going through all of this just to show you what the priest had to wear in order to come before the Most High God for splendor and for beauty, and show that when they spoke in the name of the Creator, when they taught the law in the name of the Creator, when they prayed and blessed the children of Yisrael in the name of the Creator, that their heads were always covered. There was no such thing as them having their heads uncovered when they were ministering before the children of Israel. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one according to his name, for the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate pleated chains of written work of pure gold, right? Right, so the ends of the breastplate got gold rings. They made the ropes to hold it. And the other two ends of the two written chains, they put on the two settings and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod in the forepart thereon. And they made two rings of gold and put them upon the two ends of the breastplate, upon the edge thereof, which was toward the side of the ephod inward. And they made two rings of gold and put them on the other two shoulder pieces of the ephod underneath, and the forepart thereof close by the coupling thereof above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. So I will basically have to show you that so you get an understanding of what's being said here about the ephod and stuff like that. I actually have a slideshow with that I believe I showed before, but it's kind of difficult to explain it without you seeing it. So we won't leave, but we're trying to get to the headpiece. They did bind the breastplate by the rings thereof onto the rings of the ephod with a thread of blue, that it might be upon the skillfully woven band of the ephod, that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all blue, and the whole of the robe in the midst thereof as the whole of a coat of mail, with the binding round about the whole of it, and it should not be rent. So basically, the robe, you have to make the neck piece, you got to make it, you got to basically double stitch it so that when they put in this garment on, that it doesn't rip. Remember, these are holy garments, and everything has to be done perfectly before the Most High God. They made upon the skirts of the robe pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet, and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the skirts of the robe round about between the pomegranates. So they made pomegranates of material. They didn't put actual pomegranates down there. So they had a bell and a pomegranate. That's a design. We was decked out, and the bells was made out of pure gold. Verse 26. And a bell and a pomegranate upon the skirts of the robe round about minister, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And they made the tunics of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and the goodly head ties of fine linen, and the linen breeches of fine twined linen. So you hear that? And the mitre of fine linen, and the goodly head ties of fine linen. So the priests wore head ties while they were doing service before the Most High. Now let us go to Leviticus 21:10 to show the actual command that God gives the priest, the high priest. Leviticus 21, verse 10. It reads on this wise: and the priest that is highest amongst his brethren, upon whose head the anointing oil is poured, and that is consecrated to put on the garments, shall not let the hair of his head go loose, nor rend his clothes. Neither shall he go into any dead body, nor defile himself for his father or for his mother. So the high priest is held at a higher standard than even his sons or the other regular priests. As we went along, there were a lot of priests. There wasn't only like one family of priests. The priests became abundant because children started having, remember, all the children that Aaron children had, they all become priests. And then the grandchildren's children, it becomes an order of priests. You understand what I'm saying? They all become priests. They all are born into the lineage of priests. They all don't become high priests, but they all become priests. And this is what's going on. So it tells us here that the high priest, it says here, it says, Weha Kohen Hagadol, right? Weha Kohen, the highest of priests, Hagadol, the great priest, right? That's what we call, when you said Kohen Hagadol, that means this is the great priest. Me'ekayo, Asher, it said Yutsak, Arosho, Shemen Hamishka, Umile. So, and the priest that is high among his brethren, upon whose head the anointing oil is poured, and that is consecrated to put on the garment, shall not let the hair of his head go loose, nor rend his clothes. So how do we let the hair of his head go loose? It's by taking off whatever he got covering his head. Right? So, and also somewhere down the line, I believe in Ezekiel, in the book of Ezekiel, or one of those books, it tells you that you suffer not the priest to let his hair grow too long, right? Because the danger in that is when they making offerings and stuff like that, that their hair could catch on fire. They're always around fire. They're always around sacrifices. So they got to cut their hair because their hair could only grow to a certain length. This is what's happening here. So that's basically it. So that's just to show us that Paul is not the laws of God, right? Paul is not what God commanded us to do. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind. We got to try to get through to our brothers sometimes when, see, the problem is when we put everything else before Torah, everything has to be filtered through Torah, right? I don't have a problem with reading books and all of that stuff, other books, but if it don't coincide with the Torah, then there's a problem because the Torah is the foundation. And you can't forsake the foundation. You know, so those are things that I keep in mind, and those are things that I keep in my memory bank. You know what I'm saying? Torah is what keeps us grounded, is the foundation, is what helps us. It's Torah. You know what I'm saying? So once we guide ourselves through Torah or with Torah, then we will be safe. Because then we know that we're not going outside of the realm of what the Creator told us to do. So I just wanted to touch on that. Just wanted to talk about that. And hopefully you will have the answers when people try to come at you again. These are the great things that we think about. And I just want to say this. So now we got this New Year's celebration coming up. All of this stuff is connected with the with winter festivals, with the celebration of the sun, like the Romans would say, the conquering sun, invincible sun. These are all the terms that they used to use because they were sun worshipers. So these are the things that we have to be careful with these celebrations, going to Times Square to watch the ball drop and stuff like that. Just don't understand that you're partaking on some celebrations that have nothing to do with Israel. And those are the things that we have to keep focus in mind and understand the things that we do. We can't fall into everything that people are doing, being out there celebrating, get all involved in the debauchery, the person that's closest to you, you out there, you kiss them, you got all types of stuff going on out there that people do that go contrary to the laws of God. And you kissing some man and you got a husband, but your husband is not there, so you think it's okay. Those are the type of things, the debauchery and stuff that goes on in these type of celebrations that people do. So these are things that we have to avoid as God's people. Our New Year's is during Pesach. We always taught that. We understand we live under the Gregorian calendar because that's how we operate. We know we've been indoctrinated for so long that we can't, we're used to operating with that, but it doesn't mean we have to take upon their celebration. We living in this captivity and we have to use the calendar. That's common sense. But what I'm trying to say is it does not mean that we have to get in their celebrations, because that's where it begins to get shaky. We have to begin to love the celebrations that God gave us. Pesach, CHOKMAH, Chag Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom HaKippurim, Chag, Feast of Booths. I forgot to say booths in Sukkot. Chag Sukkot, and we have Shemini Atzeret. Those are the days that God gave us to observe. And in between, our forefathers gave us Purim. Some people celebrate Hanukkah, but just be warned, Hanukkah is not an Israelite Xmas. You understand what I'm saying? I'd like everyone right now on YouTube to get if you're not a subscriber, to subscribe to the channel, to also give me the thumbs up right underneath the video. Start giving me the thumbs up, the thumbs up, the thumbs up. Everybody that's on Bavakusha, just give the thumbs up to the video. And don't forget to share it to your social media and to all the different avenues that y'all got. So give me that thumbs up out there underneath the video. And don't forget to share it to your social media in order to keep us going. So yeah, when we look at the whole January thing, even most early Romans did not celebrate New Year's during the dead of the winter. That didn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Most societies, I believe before, the Romans had like a 9-month calendar, right? And their New Year always started during March, during the time of the spring, when everything started over. That's when the Romans began to do that. And even a lot of European countries, Eastern Europe and Northern Europe, they never celebrated New Year's during the beginning of the coldest month of the year, one of the coldest months of the year. That makes no sense. That can't be a New Year. It makes no sense. Now, what makes more sense being the New Year is the time during Pesach, because that's the time that's what Abib means, to bud forth. So those are the things that make sense. So most societies were celebrating New Year's during that period of time. I believe it was a pope that changed the New Year from it beginning during the time of the month in March, April, around that time, to January, the middle of the winter. So now the interesting about even the name January is derived from from a Roman god named Janus. Now, this god was supposedly able to see the past and the future. So it was a two-faced god, and he had two faces opposite to each other, so he could look into the past and into the future. So that's where the origins of the month January comes from. One of these days, I'll go through that lesson all over again, the 12 months, so that we get an understanding and the meaning of the names. Shabbat Shalom, Adon Amram. Thank you very much. That means a lot coming from an elder who's been around and put in the time and the work and is still around. I really appreciate that. So got someone here that says, the new year coming up in history, it was the worship of Saturn, the planet. Chief Ooze, I still haven't found a camp out here in Texas. Do you know any elders out here? I want to be ready for our bead. Okay. So the camp that the brother gave you last week, that didn't work out for you, I guess. I can't think of, how close are you to Georgia? How close is Texas from Georgia? I think that's about as close as you could get, my brother. I think that's as close as you could get. Unless you start saving from now, and you could come keep it with us in New York City. Start saving from now. You start walking from now. You can make it here. I'm just kidding. 3 states away. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, but depending on what part, I guess. ATL is 16 hours. Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to help you out. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be on the lookout to see who we got in Texas that's observing this. If not, maybe you're going to be our point person in Texas. That's what we got to start doing now. So all these, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a class, right? Because I think I'm dropping the ball on this. So how would y'all like this? I'm going to create a class on the basics of the foundation of Torah. I'm going to, if y'all are dedicated, I'll get some brothers in on the things that you should know, the points that you should know how to bring them. And then what will happen is we will give y'all the license to open up a chapter in whatever cities you're in. But you have to, in order to be a D.C.B. teacher, you have to be, you know what, let's not make it a D.C.B. teacher, just a Yisrael teacher, right? You have to know certain things. You have to understand certain things, be able to bring, because what I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of people they want to go out, but sometimes when you're the only person somewhere, you have to create it to be that light, to be that connection, to be the place where it's going to be like, oh yeah, brother Kasedia, he got the place down in well, what did you say you was from? Dallas. He got a place down in Dallas, Texas. It's at such and such and such. So everybody from the Texas area who wants to come to services, brother Kasedia got a place down here. And that's how you do, you know? So what I'm going to do is everyone that's interested in wanting to start or move or even looking forward to try to open up something or try to gather people, you're still a baby, but we all start out babies. At some point, you start walking, crawling, and doing all of that. Nothing wrong with that. So that's why we said, you know, that's why I said we would have classes in order for the people to be able to speed up and be able to grasp the process. The most important thing about this way of life is living it. Along the way, you're going to make mistakes. Some people are going to fall out along the way. But if you're sincere about this way of life, the main thing is living this. Even with our mistakes, just live this. Try to correct them as we go along. That's the main thing with this. So we can't be afraid to do certain things. You got brothers that have started congregations just from hearing stuff on the internet and have grown just from following other. I know, especially those brothers, those Messianic brothers, they get people all over. Everybody doesn't fly out to places of the world. It's the lessons that they have. People follow them, and then they become associated through that way, and they start their own thing. So there's no reason why we shouldn't do it. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do it. That's all I'm saying. We could do it. We just sometimes we get scared, we get cold feet, but we could do it. A lot of Hebrews in Texas that are keeping Torah. So especially down there, man, and like Houston, places like that. I know that there are a lot of people. So I'm going to talk to some of the brothers. We could do some courses online, just bringing straight Torah so that you get an understanding of it. You take your notes, you do all that, and that's all you got to live by, and this is what you got to reiterate. And then we will always be the support for when you run into problems, because you run into problems. But the main basic points that you need to know is in Texas, I can imagine it's a large contingency of Christians and stuff like that. So those are the people that you mainly are going to be contending with. I hate to put it that way, but that's what it is. It's like you contend with these people, So with that, what we'll do is we'll create something for people to be able to take, to be able to begin or start an organization. And then what will happen is when you get to that point, we'll help you along. But when you get to the point where you say, all right, I'm ready, I'm going to open up, got a few brothers and sisters, then somebody will fly down there, stay with you maybe for a week, for 2 weeks, get everything set up, help out, be there to be that first, just to be that guide. And then from there, the sky's is the limits. God has blessed us all to be able to do what we do. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to hit the notification bell on YouTube, and to also give me the thumbs up on the video. Give the thumbs up on the bottom of the video. I see 57 people on and only got 16 thumbs up. All that stuff counts. So it don't take much just to click the button. All right. That's for the people on YouTube. So yeah, brothers and sisters. So those are the things that we need to do. And I'm really I've been contemplating on that, but there's a lot of people out there that's just like in the middle of nowhere and that need to get this started. You can't be afraid, Scared money makes no money. So we can't be scared to do what we have to do. I was actually talking to the people on YouTube, people on Facebook, but y'all could keep giving me the thumbs up and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the likes underneath the video, the likes. Hit the thumbs, the likes underneath the video. That's what I'm looking for on the video on YouTube. So, in South Florida, I believe there's a brother down there by the name of Adon Uriah. I believe they congregate down there, so they do have a congregation down there. So that's that's it in a nutshell. We just have to sometimes where there is no where there is no grocery store, where there is nothing, you create one. You open it up, you open up shop, and you just put your trust in the Most High. But like I said, we'll do the classes in order to get you to a certain level to where you're confident. And then you have to try out what you know. Is Dallas near Winona? Is Dallas near Winona? Shabbat Shalom, Merv Yisrael. You kind of late today. I don't know. I only got about 10 more minutes. I guess you could catch it from the beginning. Gwendolyn Lewis is in Houston. All right. How far is Dallas from Houston? Maybe we got enough people that could get together and build something, you know. That's how we make connections. And then if we really get something, you know, I'm willing to fly down to these places for a Shabbat here and there, you know, for a weekend in order to help somebody start something out. Ooh, 7 to 8 hours. That's a long time. How big is Texas? Goodness gracious. For us in New York City to drive 7 to 8 hours, we in Canada. We get to Canada 7 and 8 hours. No, Gwendolyn, the brother said it takes 7 to 8 hours to get to Houston. Oh, so somebody's saying 2 hours between Houston and Dallas, and that's not that bad. It takes 3 days to drive through Texas. Goodness. Okay, so we'll figure it out. Y'all could leave me an email at Uzi940@gmail, Uzi940@gmail. Let me know. Shabbat Shalom, my brother Prince Hebron. Good to see you in the room. Let me see, Uzi940@gmail. In fact, now that we're talking about that, it's somebody the brother that just came into the room, Prince Hebron. He was a teenager and he was living in New York. If I could remember the story correctly, he was living in New York City and he was a teenager. We had the SOG, but his family, I believe his mother, somebody was moving down to South Florida or something like that. And he went down there as a teenager and opened up a place, hooked up with some brother down there that just so happened used to be I believe was a Benazar King member. He was he was an elder. But Prince Hebron went down there and opened up shop, recruited people, had you know, people his age, people coming around. So it's your dedication, it's what you feel in your heart. And at that point, he was still young. He probably just started not too long before that, maybe a couple of years before he moved down there. So it's what's in your heart, really, what matters and what helps you to push. And one of the things you have to do is talk to people. That's how you test out your skills and how much you know. You know, you're gonna get your moments where it's gonna be contention. Say used to worship there, really missed that camp. You see, Marshall Yisrael used to worship there. So what we have, and it seems like South Florida should be like a nice spot for us to open up a camp, you know. But it's about how you interact with people. Shabbat Shalom, servants of Yehovah. My brother Yael. So it's how you interact with people. You can't be afraid to interact and to test this truth out. That's why it says It says you study and you show yourself approved. I mean, once you study, you good, man. You don't have to worry about anything once you study. So those are the things that we keep in mind. The understanding, the knowledge. Give the Most High God his glory. Yeah, brothers and sisters, it's as easy as that. That's what we got to do. Just be confident in what you know and what you understand. Stay in the book. See, these are elders right here, and they were under a young man. He was a teenager at that point, if I can remember. But then he ended up coming back to New York City. But at that point, he had a run in a congregation, and that's a blessing. So it's what's in your heart that allows you to do these things. So don't be afraid. Wherever your people are at is where you could talk to them about Torah and about this way of life. Wherever your people are at. But you can't hold this like a treasure chest and just have all the jewels inside and all the money and not share and be generous with people. This Torah is also about generosity. You got to be able to share with the people. That's why after every Shabbat, I'm drained, because what you give as a teacher or as somebody who runs a service, it drains your body. It takes away from you. It's a spiritual thing also. It's not just a physical thing. And anybody who runs a service or does anything like that could attest to that and could testify to that when after you done with the Shabbat day, you literally feel tired. You might not have did anything physical, but you feel physically tired. People be like, hey, man. People, they be like, hey, we having this party tonight. Come out and hang out. I'll be like, yeah, I'll be there. I go home, lay down on the bed talking about, it's still too early. I'm not going to make it there. By the time I wake up, it'd be like 3 a.m. I'm not going to any party at that time. I'm not going to any get together at that time. Your body just be drained. So those are the things that we have to think about. So I thank the Creator for this day. I'm not going to stay on too long tonight. Just going to be light. Just going to be light tonight. And just think about what I just told you. Just think about what I just told you. And with brilliance, brilliance is in every one of us. You wouldn't know what you are unless you test it out. Everyone starts from nothing. So when you think that you can't do it, you be the one that the Most High God sent to do. Don't forget the life of the prophet Moses. And I'm not comparing any of us to our great father Moses, but Moses didn't want the job because he said he was slow of speech. So God told him, well, I'm going to send you Aaron, your brother, because he could speak. All right, Shabbat Shalom, Aki Seren Esrei. From you, I don't know if you know anyone from the Caribbean island of Grenada, but there's a family who listen to you. They need our support because they need a community. Yes. I know the people in Grenada. That's my sister Quadima and my brother Shimshon down there in Grenada. Yeah, we need to just start communities wherever we're at, The job is for everyone. The job is not just for me or for a selected few. The job is for everyone. If you've heard me heard a congregation like us for the past 4 or 3 years of you've been listening to me, you're ready. You just don't think you're ready. you used to something, but you're ready. You really could talk, and it could be brother or sister. You're ready. You just don't know that you're ready. You don't feel that confident like I could do this, but you could be a shining light and an example in any community where you're at. It's not that difficult. You just got to accept your calling. That's all that is. So, like I said, thanking the Creator once again. Thanking y'all for, listen, I really appreciate the fact that you guys tune in with us. You tune in with me. You appreciate what I do. That makes me feel good. You know, last night I didn't sleep well. I only had like 2.5, 3 hours of sleep. You know, you get some nights like that sometimes. And I think I did it to myself because I was posting up so many videos last night. In fact, I want to share something with y'all. I want y'all right away when you get off with me to go right to, don't leave me yet. Don't leave me yet. Don't leave me. I need y'all to just do this for me. Go to my YouTube. Hold on. Go to YouTube real quick so I can share this link with y'all. All right. See if I can find this right now. All right, here it goes. This is what I want to do. Give me 1 second here. So, all right, if you go to my Uziel Lewy channel, right after this, I loaded up all the rest of the Hebrew Charlotte community when we went there on the 1st, and the second half wasn't completely loaded. Well, everything is completely loaded now. You could start it from part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there's 7 more parts that are in increments of, they're like 16 minutes each. So for everyone that's interested and catching the rest of that stuff, that's where you could, you know, I'm not sending you there because that's when I got the award or whatever. But if you were interested in that, that's when you will see what the family down there presented me with the award. You will get to see certain sisters speak, certain people sing, certain brothers, the violinists. But I believe I had that up already. So also go to the Uziel Lewy channel. There's a lot of content there. There's a lot of music. If you're looking for music like drumming and stuff like that, there's a lot in there. Okay, torah. All right, so y'all seeing it. All right, y'all not playing. Y'all be catching that stuff early. I be thinking that I'll be putting y'all on to stuff. Y'all tuned in. That's good. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to get the notifications, and so forth and so on. So once again, All right, Chief Ishmael, who, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the first captains of Ben Zakin, came around about 2 or maybe. All right. Yeah. So there you go. 2 or 3 years after. Okay. So there you go. You see, young man that did the work, and the work paid off because you still got Israelites down in South Florida that learned from him. But it's the dedication that you have to have. So shalom, shalom, everyone. At this time, I'm going to conclude. May the Most High God bless each and every one of you. I got to catch some rest because, like I said, last night I didn't really sleep that well. So once again, may Yah bless and keep each and every one of you. And may everyone have a good night's sleep. Remember, join us once again, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Join us for Shabbat services on the D.C.B channel. May Yah bless and keep you. Shalom, shalom.